Hey y'all, welcome back to the Be Like D channel. It's your girl D coming back with another review of Love and Marriage Huntsville season 3 episode 10. Okay, so it's the next morning and the guys are outside playing basketball and they basically discussing what happened last night with Mel and Martell. And then they say after they got into it, it was just a blow up and it ruined the whole evening. Now everybody kind of in an awkward position, which is expected to happen because they have ex-husband and wife that are freshly divorced on a trip together, and of course their marriage ended over complete drama. But they all agree basically that Martell and Mel are wrong and they both are using the kids as weapons. And they said Marceau said that he feel that they are using the kids as a pawn to get back at each other and stuff like that. Which they say, well, Maurice was saying in Mel's defense, she's getting her emotions out musically. So that is her defense, but then they also saying, well, she shouldn't have the kids singing and knowing the song, which is also true. But then it's also kind of like the kids gonna hear the song eventually. She gonna be proud of her song and they're gonna be like, oh, what's this song? My mama singing this song. So you do gotta think about it like that too. So, okay. As long as she don't tell them that the song is about daddy, I think it should be fine. I think. Maybe not, but I don't know. I think so. But they out there having a real conversation about their marriages and stuff. And they was like, what we talking about? Marcel was like, what we talking about? And they was like, of course you. And then what's going on with everybody? He's like, well, we already know what's going on with me. What's going on with you? So then Marcel finally tell everybody that Tisha surprised him with therapy. And they like, oh, surprised you with therapy. But then Martell has some sense right now. The whole time he was talking, I was surprised. He said, well, that's good. She going to go to therapy because then she still want to be a part of the team. She wants y'all to be a team. And instead, going to therapy is better than acting out. She could just act out. I'm like, wouldn't you know? So therapy was a good choice. But then Marceau was like, well, why I gotta be those two options? Why she just can't tell me what's wrong with her? And then all the guys are like, well, maybe she feel more comfortable to say how she feel in therapy, which is true. And when she said it, she felt that was an easier way to get through to him by having somebody else talk to him. Marceau says that when he first was with Tisha, she stood up high, she was strong, a strong woman, dominated the room. I'm like, really? Then you did this to her. You done picked at her insecurities and got her down. But anyway, no, but he's saying, but in the last year, I'm like, last year? It'd be more clear if he would have said in the last 3 years because we got season 3. But I'm gonna just let you pass with that. But he said in the last year, she's been insecure about her public speaking and all this stuff, and all of a sudden she just insecure about a lot of stuff. And they were saying, well, yeah, when we first got together, what Martell said, when y'all first got together, you didn't want her to do a lot of things outside the home, and she wants to do that now. Is that right? And then he was like, well, it ain't that I didn't want her to. She didn't want to. I'm like, did she? And then I'm like, how they was like, well, did she not want to? Or you just thought she didn't want to? So then she took it as you didn't want her to. And I'm like, oh, they making sense up in here. Now they giving him some good advice. I'm like, okay, good guys. But do he actually take it? I doubt it. But they all speaking some facts. Okay, Louis. This man said a wife without confidence in a marriage is a liability. A word. And I'm just leave that right there. Y'all, they are throwing me. These men are making sense and they are saying stuff that I'm like, okay. So they all talking about respecting each other in this group, and that in this group, when somebody says stop, there should be a level of respect to we stop it all, right? So they saying basically from last night when Mel and Martell got into it, and then Martell was like, yeah, me and Mel argue, but he didn't even get to finish what he was gonna say before Marceau was gonna jump in and try to give him advice. And then Marceau was like, nah, nah, you don't even know what I'm gonna say, because if you don't know, then ain't nothing to be talked about anyway. So then in Martell's confessional, he says he don't think that Marceau is the one to give out advice, especially since he just admitted that he don't want to receive advice. I was like, what is going on? These first 5-10 minutes got me like, what? Who are these people? They are making sense on this screen right now. But they love to make sense, but then when they carry on to their actual women, they don't. I don't know where that come from, but maybe it's for TV. But that was hilarious. He's like, you don't even want to receive advice from a licensed professional. At least I'm open to advice. But he said, but yeah, I still feel like Marcel is not the one to give advice. I'm like, he ain't. He low-key a little worse for you, but you just more outward with your bullshit. He's sneaky with his. Then they hear the girls outside by the pool, so then they go by the pool. And then they like, where's Mel? Where's Mel? And I'm surprised that Martell is the one to go look for her. So I'm like, oh, so we finna go jump off early in the episode. Okay, let's get into it. So Martell goes into Melanie's room, and then she like, come in. And then he like, it's Martell. And she like, oh Lord. So then they go ahead and talk, and then she go in. Well, he said, well, how you doing? I'm like, why he always try to start off nice? Well, I guess he tried. But he always, how you doing? How did you sleep after last night? And then she was like, I'm fine. I slept good. I heard you come in here last night. I was like, dude, really? You went in her room last night? Okay. And then he keep talking past that, and then she like, nah, I saw you in my room last night. And he was like, yeah, well, I came. She's like, what you was doing here? And she's like, I came to apologize like I'm doing now. I apologize. And then she and her confession was like, no, Martell did not come in my room at 1:30 in the morning to apologize. I know what he was looking for, and that is over. That is no longer, no more. And you need to work on your real apology. And so he apologized to her, and then she says, well, last night she was triggered, and they both have triggers for each other. And then he like, yes, Lord, both of us, yeah. So she's like, well, I'm gonna tell you what my triggers were last night. And then she said, you treat me bad as a parent, like I'm being a bad mom, and that's triggering for me. Like when you said we have 4 children, I know we have 4 children. Don't you think I know that? I pushed them out, didn't I? And then he like, this has nothing to do. I'm like, so you gonna tell her that ain't nothing to do with being a mama? So you still throwing shade at her being a mama, and you trying to say she ain't been a good mom in my eyes for having that little comment, period. But anyway, so then she was like, well, no, I had the kids. Of course, with all of this, that I have a kind heart, that I know, I know, and are thinking about my children. All right, so then she said, okay, and then I also have another trigger. I have another trigger when it comes to you, because I don't like the comments that you made towards my career, because especially after you congratulated me, and then you congratulated me on my song when it dropped. And he was like, no, I didn't congratulate you on your song. I'm like, so you congratulated her on having a singing career, but the singing career is because of the song, but you're not congratulating her on the song. Okay, Martell. Okay. So they have that little tip, and then she like, no, yes you did, yes you did. So Mel extra, so she doing all of this, going turning back, stuff like that. And then Martell like, all right, I'll see you, bye. And then she like, well, I'm gonna stay in here till I finish talking. I'm like, Martell, you should have walked off, let her ass stay in there if you really didn't want to have no argument. She would been standing there looking stupid. You tried to leave twice, so I don't know why you came back. You should have just let it go and went outside and have fun. But no, you had to come back like, okay, I'm gonna let you finish. And he had a smirk on his face too, like, this girl, all right, we finna play these games. So then she going back and saying how she feel again. And then he wanna hop in and say, well, I want you to elevate and do whatever you wanna do, whether it's singing, it's acting, or whatever. I want you to continue to elevate. But, and then of course she interrupts him and says he ain't answering the questions. And he's like, I'm not answering the questions. I'm just trying to tell you what I'm saying. And she's like, I'm not done talking. I'm not done talking. And then he like, well, I thought you were done talking. And then he like, all right, bye again. So he leaves out, and then she's just like, whatever, I'm just gonna stay in here and blah, blah. She's like, I could have said way more about you and your little side chick. And then he gets triggered by that. So then he comes back and was like, you was a side chick to 2 dudes. You was a side chick to 2 dudes. And she was like, what? I ain't never been no side chick, never gonna be no side chick. And he was like, you did, you was a side chick. You was a side chick to blah, blah, blah. You was a side chick to blah, blah, blah. And she was like, neither one of them got, so they both got fiancés. She was like, neither one of them got no fiancés. So I'm like, what? Mel, was you messing around with somebody? But I don't know, I kind of don't see Mel doing that, because she know how it feels. But never know. But then, you know, Martell always think he got a little bit of tea and he gonna tell the whole thing. Like, it's for sure. But so they went back and forth about that, and then the producer's like, Marcel, we need you. Everybody hit him yelling and screaming from outside. Destiny in the room, and then Marcel just grabbed Martell, like, well, come on, we finna go. He said, I'm putting my hands on you, we moving, we going. But yeah, they was going hard, yelling at each other's face, but the whole thing could have been avoided. Martell would just took his ass back outside. And because Melanie was ready to beef, even though they should just let her. Why he go check on her? I guess they want to have a little side moment to talk, but they just should have known it was not gonna go the way they thought it was gonna go. Like they said, tensions are still high, their divorce is still fresh, and their feelings are still fresh. So y'all gonna keep beefing every time y'all see each other. So just try to keep it light and cute, how y'all did at the little black event. That's how it should stay. Don't have no deep conversations. Don't do nothing. Okay? Don't even talk. Barely look at each other. And I also forgot in the midst of their argument that Melanie told Martell that he need to get help. I'm like, oh my goodness, you know how to get him good. He do need to get help. Martell, you got so many issues. But as I'm watching this whole argument continue, we got Marcel after he broke it up in his confessional. He like, I don't know if they used to this, but I'm not used to this. And he like, get me the hell out of this shit. And then you got Destiny. It's like, God damn, y'all in here arguing. We trying to get a drink and enjoy the pool and shit. Y'all in here arguing. She like, oh, my blood pressure up. And then Melly's like, mine's not. It wasn't even that bad to me. What I was saying, she's like, y'all fighting. He's like, I'm fighting. She's like, I wasn't fighting with him. She's like, with y'all words, y'all was fighting. Don't try to play. And then Mimi was like, well, I didn't even think it was that bad. And then Destiny was like, well, I don't know. I wasn't in here, so I don't know. And she's like, well, you know, that's your boy. And then Destiny like this shit. So of course, Mel and Martell always fighting over Destiny. Well, girl, that's what happens when you was friends with the dude first, then you get all buddy with the wife, and then they break up. So you didn't pick a side, so now you're in the middle, and all she do is stay in the middle of their arguments, and she says she got to play referee, and it is a job. I'm like, I bet it is. And then while they sitting there arguing, she just there like, holding Mel, and she just screaming in her face. I'm like, oh, couldn't be my job. That was a self-appointed job, girl. You better go sit down in the pool with Tisha and them, man. Like Tisha said, I'm happy Destiny in there handling it, cause I'm sure enjoying my pool, because I don't want to be in that middle of Mel and Martell drama. She said another episode of Mel and Martell drama, because anytime they all together, Mel and Martell are definitely finna get into an argument. I said, at least they know. At least Tisha know. The rest of them like, like, really, right, guys? You ain't ruining our time. Y'all should just say it's a part of the fun, because it's always gonna happen, and it always do happen. But anyway, so as I'm watching this argument, because he's still yelling at her, saying she was a side chick. She was a side chick to the dudes that she left. Then this way he said, you left me. You keep talking about how I was a cheater, but then you went ahead and went on with 2 other dudes that was cheating on their fiancés. So how you gonna talk, basically? So he basically mad because if she supposedly dated some other dudes that's cheating on their fiancé, that you could have just still been with me, and I could have been cheating on you. That's what his argument. We could have still been together, cheating and all. If you still gonna do that. So he extra mad, yelling. And then she like, you're lying. Then she walk off. She's like, you can go text. And so she grabbed her phone and go walk off. So I guess she finna go text somebody to show they proof that she was an outside chick. But Martell talking about he mad, and in his confessional he said that she lying about so much stuff, and he like, how she gonna have this big lie like that? I'm like, what's she lying about? Because in the scene you saying she lying about being a side chick, but now on the confessional you trying to say she lying about all this stuff, and you don't want to elaborate about it. But all the times you want to elaborate about it, now you don't want to elaborate about it. Okay, Martell. Okay, so after all of that arguing and stuff, they come back, and Martell and Mel both on their phone, texting hard. I'm like, are y'all in a text fight now? I wouldn't put it past them to be in a damn text fight. Or they just trying to find whoever that's gonna hype them both up even more. Okay, so it's already getting shady, and I knew Tiffany and her husband was gonna be messy with this guy and talking about it's gonna release some tension. All it's gonna do is add more tension and more shade. Okay. So the first question, Mel pulls it, and it says, are your needs being met? And then I'm like, what needs? And I was like, of course, sexual needs. And then she like, yes. Already awkward. Of course, they pants Martell, and he just like, looking like, I guess that's what she say. The second question, of course, goes to Martell. And his question is, how many people have you had sex with in one night? And his answer is 2. I'm like, yes, Mel and your mistress, huh? Just terrible. And of course, they gotta look at each other and look like, And then Maurice wins, because they said highest number wins, and Maurice said 6. He had sex with 6 people in one night, and then Tisha is so, everybody like, you said 6? And Tisha really likes, like, did you have a shower after? It's like, did you use a condom? And he's like, yes, of course. And then Tisha's like, so you showered after each one? And then Kim be like, all right, that's enough questions. And she's like, we ain't gotta talk about it. But then Tisha was like, I'm just trying to understand. I'm like, girl, we all trying to understand. Don't dish out information like that if you ain't gonna give no details. And then they confessional, Kimmy and Maurice confessional, she made it sure to make him say, was I one of them people? And then he said no. She was like, all right, make sure you wasn't making no rounds. And then he said no, it was before her, and that it was no excuse for him to be doing that. And first of all, let's say that it was no excuse, and I shouldn't have even said it. I'm like, exactly. Okay, and it gets even messier. So now Marceau says these questions are crazy. And then the next question is, that's like, everybody, this is a good one right here. This is a light one. Are you currently happy in the relationship that you're in? Or, something like that. But happy with the relationship you're currently in. Take a drink. Everybody take a drink, except Marceau. Marceau don't take a drink, and then he's smirking kind of too. And then he was like, oh yeah, I ain't take one. And Tisha just looking like, I'm like, you just embarrassed this woman on national TV and in front of all your friends right here. Joke or no joke, that was hurtful as hell. Tisha, I am actually sorry for you, because that was embarrassing. Don't make that kind of joke. Especially when everybody knows that y'all really in a situation right now. That was not funny anymore, so not at all. Well, I laugh. I laugh because I'm just goofy, okay? But on a real level, that was fucked up. So again, with the messy questions, drink if you have ever been unfaithful. Did somebody give y'all these questions, or you and your husband was just messy enough to sit down and write them? So, of course, everybody looking at each other side-eyeing, and Martell just make a joke like, well, nah, everybody drink. Everybody need to be truthful and be real, right? But he being funny now, laughing. And then she was like, no, ever? Nobody has ever cheated? And then they was like, oh, ever? And then everybody started drinking. And then Tisha was like, no, I've never. And then she was like, well, aren't you a fucking saint or something like that? And everybody bust out laughing. And then Tisha was like, what she said? I'm a faithful bitch. I'm like, you better let him know. And turn around to your husband and let his ass know too. Okay, so then Tiffany messy ass say, well, I guess when it's good, it's good. And then Tisha was like, that's right. And then in her confessional, she says that I don't know what Tiffany and Louis are trying to get out of this group. And then they show Marceau in his own confessional, and he says, I feel like they just want to say, do y'all want to have an orgy? Like, he's like, just say it if you want to say it. But no, I'm good. I'm like, why they keep trying to make it seem like Tiffany and them are the ones trying to have a threesome or orgy or whatever? But then Tiffany and them make it seem like all of them are the ones that want to do that. So what the hell is this miscommunication they got going on? Because I'm like, where did this, I don't even see where that's coming from. But they all keep saying it. Am I missing it? Do y'all see it? If y'all see it, drop down in the comments, let me know. Now they done playing with the game, and Tisha is talking about she drunk, and she look drunk, sound drunk, and she's like, well, since it's our 15-year anniversary, I want to go around the room and everybody say we all been through something, we all been through marriages and divorce, and I want to know if you have advice for the next couple, that'll help somebody else in their relationship. And then Maurice says, basically he bigs up Kimmy, said he's thankful for her. It's about doing what you started to do to get married and continue to do that after you're married. And then he said that Kimmy held him down basically while he was in school and stuff like that, and that made him love her even more, blah blah blah. And then she goes to Kimmy and she says, I know you got married later in life, so do you feel like you accepted more things because of that and stuff like that? And I'm just like, Tisha, you like drunk, messy, but you also asking good questions. It was like she was asking some good questions to everybody. And Kimmy said that yes, the answer is yes, but then it's also she feel like she had to grow into the person that she is now to I guess to understand marriage, to understand relationships or whatever. And then she goes to Martell and asks him about what advice would he have, especially after being divorced. And then he just said, make sure that your mate needs are being met and stuff like that. And then he's like, and she was like, both ways, right? I'm like, Tisha, how are you drunk and being messy at the same time? So then he says, yes, I didn't say wife, I didn't say husband, I just said your mate, make sure your mate needs a met. And then of course they gotta go to Melody and her confessional, and she was like, there was plenty of times that my needs wasn't met, but I didn't go out and cheat, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. And I was like, girl, that was it, that's all you had to say, boom. And then she goes to Destiny, and Destiny's like, I ain't got no advice for nobody in here. Everybody busts out laughing like, damn, let me get the question out first. And she's like, well, I ain't got no advice for nobody. And here come Marceau messy ass. Marceau was like, Destiny, what you do to make that man leave you? And then she like, and then Kim was like, if that drink don't end up on his head. And I'm like, exactly, because Marceau was so damn messy. But it was needed in this moment. And he was like, your ex-husband. And she's like, yes, my ex-husband, where he at? And then Maurice was like, yeah, where is your ex-husband? I'm like, it's what we've all been asking. We have literally been asking that all last season. Where's LeBerick? Where's LeBerick? All of a sudden they divorced. And we still don't see where's LeBerick. So that was quite hilarious. And then they tell him that was disrespectful. Why does Tiffany says, why does it always have to be the woman's fault? And then so they're going into that. And then he says, did he go Marceau with his dumb reasoning, dumb logic or whatever? He basically said that you going into a marriage thinking you always gonna be happy. And people need to realize that you're not always gonna be happy. Because it's for better and for worse, not because you always gonna be happy. And Tiffany was like, I'm like, exactly. I was Tiffany the whole time he was talking, and a little bit annoyed. I mean, well, she was already annoyed, but just disgusted when he talk about relationships, because he knows nothing. He knows nothing. I think he just imitating what he think a relationship is supposed to be, somewhat, because what he thinks a relationship is supposed to be, because what he doing ain't it. It clearly isn't it. If your marriage is not in the right place, if your wife is feeling insecure, if your wife does not trust you, if your wife wants to go do stuff and you want her to stay in the house, like, and you told her, we talked about this 5 years, this is the plan, this is the plan. No, it was your plan, and she just went along with it because she wanted you. She basically just said right now that when y'all was having tough times, it was hard in the beginning of y'all marriage, but she didn't want to be a single mother. I'm like, so you just stuck it out because you didn't want to be a single mother. That's all it was. She didn't know what she was gonna do. She didn't want to figure it out. And then Tiffany's face was looking like that as well, like, bitch, what? And then of course, Louis tried to clean it up, like, yeah, it's what we're trying to say is things are hard, but you stick it out. Y'all two stuck it out. I'm just like, we can see them both saying two different things. Marcel and Tisha, and Tisha, how? Why? I just don't get it. So then drunk Tisha turns to Maurice, and then she says, I want to ask Kimmy's permission first, because it is a question about Kiowa, and I wanted to ask it. And then Kimmy was like, okay, go ahead. Knowing she felt away a little bit, she just had to let the question be asked. Tisha says, well, Kiowa told us that she feels like y'all marriage could have been saved, but you didn't even try. I said, oh Lord. Then this where it came from. Why they saying Kimmy was a side chick and she stole Kiowa man. Because Kiowa thought she had a chance to get her man back, and she didn't. And I was just like, oh, well, I did not expect that question to come out of Tisha. Good question, though. Great question. But she drunk, she in her feelings, and she want to know how these marriages not working. She don't want, I think she's seeing signs of her marriage not working, and how other people's marriage didn't work, and things that she knows that the men are doing. I think that's what it's coming from. So she just like, I don't know, at this point, 15 years in, she ain't as confident in that she can save her marriage. That's what I'm thinking. And that's what she want Marceau to do more work that he not finna do. That's why she tried to surprise him with therapy. So good luck, girl, because I don't know how you gonna get through this little rough patch y'all in, or if he even want to. Or like he said, he just gonna stay married just to stay married, and y'all just gonna feel however how y'all feel. Or he gonna keep cheating how he probably cheating. So now Kimmy going off of her confessional, like, I don't know what Tisha thinks she doing right now, but she really gonna ask this question if Maurice should have stayed with Kiowa in front of everybody, in front of me. I was like, oh yeah, girl, but you did tell her she could ask the question. What you thought the question was gonna be? She asked about marriages, but I get it both ways. Like, bitch, don't ask him that. Especially not in front of me. You pull him off to the side and say, I know this is an odd question, but I'm really in my feelings and I'm trying to understand marriages right now. But don't come bring it in front of the whole group, even though y'all trying to help each other. I mean, it's both ways. It's supposed to be an open discussion. They all giving each other advice. They all open to talking about things. But it's also levels to that shit. And she crossed it, and Kimmy like, all right, word. I said, ooh, that word mean like, I got you, bitch. Just wait. And then I like how Maurice gone explained it away, like, no, he basically knew his marriage was over. She said, but you didn't try. How did you know it was just done? It was just done. And I'm like, is that what you trying to figure out? Are you trying to figure out if it's just done? It's just done. Because I don't know why you questioning his marriage with Kyle. He basically told her, no, when you know a relationship is toxic and it's worse to stay in it, that's how you'll know to get out of it. And then here come Destiny, facts. I'm like, don't tease us with your tea and don't tell us your tea, okay? Thank you, Destiny. Shut up. But so Maurice and Kimmy in their confessional, she was like, he said, no, my relationship was done. That is not true that I didn't work on my marriage before it was over. And when my last marriage, when it's over, you know. And then he said, God had other plans. And then Kimmy was like, that was me. I'm like, go ahead, Kimmy, go ahead. Okay, Tisha, I kind of was thinking you was just being drunk and asking questions, right? But after this whole little scene wrapped up and she went like, that's when you know you started some shit. You know you started when she was like, well, I think it's time to go now. With her back turned against Kimmy. So Tiffany and her husband are in their room and they having a conversation about what the guys talked about at the basketball court that morning. And he tells her that Marceau basically brought up that Tisha surprised him with therapy, and then she was like, what kind of surprise is that? And then he was like, exactly. But he brought Tisha down. He was like, I think she's dealing with a lack of confidence, but I don't know if it's confidence in the marriage or just confidence within herself, the underlying confidence, lack of confidence that she probably has, and it's probably rolling on over into their marriage. And I said, oh, okay. Louis knows some stuff, but he's so messy. Like, I know you're gonna be messy with your spouse a little bit, just a little bit, but the way they do it is like, And then the whole time he telling her, I just feel like he was just spilling tea, right? And then she all in the mirror getting ready like, oh, okay. Like, oh, note that for later. That's what she doing. And he's like, yeah, we just gotta continue. We make connections. Let's continue to influence. And I'm like, she ain't trying to influence. She's trying to create scenes so she can get on this show officially, okay? That's why they was in the intro already. Disney ass went in the intro last season on her first season. They in the intro because they full of the shits, okay? Now they split up. All the girls go out somewhere, then all the guys go out, and then the girls at the club, and then they sit down to talk, and they like, cheers to love and marriage, and then they say like love after marriage and shit like that, and love and friendship and shit like that. So then what's her name, Tiffany, she got like, oh yeah, it's been great meeting new friends and hanging out. And then Destiny's like, yeah, speaking of that, like, I'm surprised you never been to Vegas. That's so lame. And then they are like, you never been to, well, they was like, why you calling her lame? And then she was like, well, she been to Huntsville or some shit like that. And I was like, what the fuck is that? But anyway, and then Mel's like, I told y'all Tiffany was fun. Ain't she fun? And they was like, yeah, she coming around, whatever to us. And then Destiny was like, not her. And then in her confessional, she says that Tiffany has not changed. She's like, she made good drinks. I'm like, okay, good chicken. How about that, girl? But she said she made good drinks, but she has not done anything to change her first impression of her. And I'm like, duh. I mean, y'all really had no interactions after that. But she's like, it's just something about Tiffany. She can't get past that Karen thing. And the producer said, did you just call her a Karen? And she said, yes. And I'm like, I actually do get that. She do give a little bit of Karen vibe. Like I said, she act like Ashley from Real Housewives of Potomac. Tiffany says, well, has therapy worked? And she was like, yes, we started going back on dates, stuff like that. And then she was like, Tiffany asked Tisha, do she think they stand together for the kids? And Tisha was like, no, we're growing and working on being, stronger together and shit like that. And then she's like, do you think he feels the same? And Tisha and Melody and Destiny was like, huh? Like, why is she asking these questions? And then she said, well, talking to Lewis earlier when the boys are playing basketball, he feels different. And then it's like, he feels what? And then they're saying that he's feeling that she's not confident in herself. So that's translating into her not being confident in him in general. And I said, this bitch here, like, you're doing too much. And Tisha was like 2 seconds from jumping on your ass to me in my head, because the way she was looking at you like, bitch, are you serious right now? And Mel and Destiny are like, where the hell is this coming from? Confident in what? And then she's like, yeah, because I'm confident in who I am. And then she's like, well, girl, you might want to talk to him about that. That's what he told his boys. And then she's smirking and shit. And then Tisha was like, well, I've never heard any of that. And then Destiny looking like, what in the hell? And then in her confessional, she says, here we go again with Tiffany not knowing how to read a room and bringing all that shit in front of everybody in the damn club. Even though it ain't in front of everybody in the club, but sort of in front of everybody, but in front of all of them for sure. And then like putting this stuff out, she said, but I guess it's her MO. She always got bad timing and she don't know how to read the room. I'm like, no, she know how to read the room. She just want to turn the room to whatever she want to turn it into. That's what that is. She don't give a fuck about y'all feelings. She just trying to make a show because she want to be on the show. That's why they talking about making connections, because they want to connect so they can stay on this damn show and get this check. Are y'all desperate? Must be. After all that was said, Tiffany is saying that, basically telling, she said that she was offended for her. Like I said, she was offended for Tisha for that conversation, and she was saying that all of that was wrong. And Tiffany was like looking like, where is it wrong? She's like, well, I'm transparent. I feel that everybody else will be transparent. I would hope everyone's transparent with me. I just say it how it is. And then Tisha sort of defends that by saying she feels like she's like, she was bothered by it, but it seems like that's what the person Tiffany is. She just say what she thinking. And I'm just like, nah, she needs to learn how to watch how she talking to people, because the way she was saying that shit, it wasn't like you was trying to go and let her know about her husband. You was trying to bring it up in a messy way, and then you led up to telling her. You should have said, well, I think your husband's feeling a little differently or something. The way she said it, just like this, and said, it's the way you say it to other people. And because she's somebody, she can talk to her kids like that. She's like, well, she's like, well, I hope I can talk to adults like that. And then Destiny was like, but with adults, you gotta watch how you saying shit, basically. And I'm like, exactly. So then Destiny said that she can say stuff with couth, like how Kimmy say stuff with couth. And then there's like, well, how would you want her to say it? And then even Kimmy's like, well, how would you want it to be said or whatever? And then Destiny started getting mad at Melody, like that you go defending her again. I'm like, are you in competition with Tiffany? That's why you mad? Because last year you was all under Mel's ass, and now she all under Mel's ass. Like, girl, that whole little beef right there was getting on my nerves, just from her saying that period. Oh, you still defending Tiffany? You still, she's like, I'm not defending her. You saying that she feel like she should have cool? Well, tell her how you think she should say it then. And then still, Destiny mad at Mel. And then Tiffany got to go and be shady with her. She was like, well, I see that the way you are and the way you are in Detroit, Huntsville, Atlanta. I was like, what that got to do with anything? So I guess she was trying to say that she defensive in any place. She's like, no, you're not finna shade me. So then they arguing back and forth. And then she's like, nah, let's go. Because she can get dragged in each place. And I was like, ooh, okay, girl, drag her. Now y'all too old to be dragging. Y'all too old to be dragging people. But then immediately like, oh girl, don't be threatening to drag nobody. And then Tiffany ain't even make no comment. I was just like, wow. But then Kimmy did, before all that, Kimmy did try to calm the situation down and tell Tiffany, she's like, I ain't on nobody's side. I'm not saying I'm picking somebody over anybody. But I do feel like that now that she said that it was bothersome to her, that you should address that. But, you know, Kimmy tries to get it together, but Tiffany had to go and try to be like, once Destiny started talking, Tiffany went into defense, and I seen it all over her face. She was just like, oh, this bitch. And yes, because she's like it's my birthday. You just don't know when to say things and how to say them. You're standing in front of everybody. All right, so that was the end of the episode, and that's the end of my review for Love and Marriage Huntsville season 3, episode 10. This was actually a long episode because I guess they knew they was gonna start off with the drama, and they ended with some drama. And we got a little sweetness in the middle of in between. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the Be Like D channel, okay? Drop down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think of the episode, what y'all might have seen that I might have seen, and we get to chit-chatting, all right?